This conference will now be recorded.
So anyone who does not prefer to be on the video, that's for the recording reason, it's absolutely fine. We do request that those who are speaking, if they can turn on their video, that will highly appreciate it because the participant can see who is speaking. I'm just going to start my screen now. I hope everybody can see the screen now. Okay. Wonderful.
Praveen, next second. Any one of you participant has any problem in terms of accessing the link or anything, you could drop a message on the chat box. I'll take it from there. Thank you.
Once again, I will repeat what Puneet has said. Any questions you have, you can either privately message Puneet on the chat box. We will try to make sure that your questions, which you have already sent to the registration form, will be tried to be answered during the webinar. This webinar is quite unique in itself. It's not like a presentation, it's more of a question answer format. So we will have the speakers who will be answering most of your questions which you have answered. Let me tell you one thing very quickly. The stats what we have received from our registrations, which have almost crossed 200. We see the participant background and we ask these questions just to understand where the participants are coming from and what their motto from this webinar. We saw that there are 26% of the joinees who are already in exporting, which is great because we will have the opportunity to hear their experiences. And those who are not exporting, we can see that the mental mindset is that, yes, we want to export. And there are few who are still in dilemma whether they should start export or not. And I hope the motto of this webinar will be to give that boost to those who really want to get into the export market. Another thing we asked, we asked during the webinar was, what do you perceive that the challenges an export business house can face? And we see that your response is, it's kind of gives us a bit of a very high level understanding. These are not the issues at the granular level, but these are the issues at a very broad level. And our intent today would be to touch upon all these areas so that you get a very good flavor of what business learning team can actually help you when you want to get into the export business. So far you have listened me, but I didn't introduce myself because I was waiting for this slide to come. Myself, Praveen Kabra, I am the founder of Business Learning. This thought of business learning is based on our Indian mythology, which calls about the karmic principle. We personally believe that learning by doing is the best mantra. And in future, as the technology is taking shape of all of our life from the COVID-19, we believe the technology will enable us to apply our actions in a virtual environment where we make sure that when we our success when we actually enter the practical world. With this, I will introduce my other colleagues who have joined today. Ian Swanston. Ian is, I would say, to more than 30 years of experience in the sales coaching, and we both are based in Scotland. And when I met Ian, I was quite passionate about his sales consulting. And I thought that this is exactly what we need, the global talent who can address the local challenges in a way where the local can also think about the global market. So Ian would be answering lots of your questions around the sales side. We also have Rajiv Bajaj, who is joining with our 20 years of experience of the corporate industry. Rajiv, with his own venture of Bajaj and Bajaj, has become corporate coach and business coach. And most of his recent clients have been startups. And it would be really good insight from Rajiv to hear his own experience, where he finds his clients find the challenges are. Rajiv is also our business learning associate in our future programs. We also have our youngest speaker today, Shubham. Shubham is the youngest chartered accountant and in our associate firm. Shubham has been quite instrumental when the GST implementation rolled out in India. Most of his clients who also come from the export background, and he would be sharing his own experience, why he feels that this is the right time for the export, or what are the really challenges which he finds that the export clients have. So looking forward to see all of our speakers today. We have, during the webinar, we will be calling out few people from the real life examples. So we do have exporters, importers, some big companies, and as well as buying agent and the custom agent. And I will pull out those introductions when they actually join our speakers stage.
Praveen, just hold for a second. Sorry for the interruption. I think the screen is not getting seen to everyone properly. It's the left-hand section is getting missed actually.
1 second, let me just quickly check.
I'm hearing a couple of messages from everyone.
Sure. Let me do one thing.
Yeah, the same I'm feeling. Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, thanks. Please go ahead.
Better now?
Yes, it's all perfect. Thanks. Please go ahead.
Perfect. So Ian, let's start the call now. And in between, Ian, I will definitely tell you that I will be flipping between the Hindi and English language. And I'm sure your language will also improve as we get to speak in Hindi. I know you had this idea of this 5 eyes, and I was quite confused. Like we already have heard about the 2 eyes, and myself has got 4 eyes. So where is this 5 eyes coming from? Would you like to enlighten the participants? Where do you find this 5 eyes term, and where do you see actually the opportunity for especially for the Indian participants today?
Thanks, Praveen, and first of all, thank you for having me here. So the 5 eyes, the origin of the 5 eyes was or is a security alliance between 5 Western nations, namely Canada, United States, United Kingdom, Australia, and New Zealand. And as I said, the origins were from a security alliance, but that has, because of the geopolitics involved with China, that is actually moving forward into much more of a potential trade alliance and a potential, not so much an alliance, but a joint strategy and joint approach.
I see, Ian, where you're coming from. That's would be quite a good insight for many people that there is a term called 5 eyes. We have heard the G7 and G20. Ian, would you mind telling us what exactly this CNI here and what is this in the diagram you are trying to refer?
So CNI stands for Critical National Infrastructure. So there was a report done by some MPs, and what they were doing was trying to understand the level of dependency that each of the 5 eyes had on the Chinese supply chain. So they've initially measured what they called the critical national infrastructure, and I can never remember this, so I'm just going to read this out. So this includes communications, energy, health, transport, and water. Now there are some additional regional things such as food and veg in Australia, but those are the common ingredients of what's classed as a critical national infrastructure.
Understood, Ian. And I think, am I right to say that the post during this COVID-19, these 5 eyes actually were forced to think about the alliance with the China, given that the way they have responded to the world with the onset of this pandemic, and the transparency and the way the human rights are being handled there. Do you want to give a bit more about this why they're actually revisiting their supply chain? Just a little one-liner on that.
So I think all of the 5 eyes have experienced breakdowns in the supply chain. The most obvious one would be with PPE, which is common with every country outside of the 5 eyes, but it certainly was brought to the attention of the 5 eyes. I think also sentiment and certainly within the UK, because of our history with Hong Kong, is also now feeding onto the back of the problems with the global supply chain. So it's almost what I would describe as a perfect storm.
That's true, very true. So let me rehearse this a very quick one message here for those who are comfortable with Hindi. हम लोग यहाँ पे ये कोशिश कर रहे हैं बताने की कि क्यों ये आज का टाइम इंडिया के लिए ज़्यादा प्रॉमिसिंग हो गया है। जो वर्ल्ड की 5 मेजर जो इम्पोर्टर्स हैं, उन लोगों ने अपनी सारी जो बिजनेस प्रोसेसेस थे उसमें ये रियलाइज किया, एनालाइज करके, कि हमारी डिपेंडेंसी चाइना के ऊपर पहले से बहुत ज़्यादा बढ़ गई। और गिवन द रिसेंट जिस तरह से चाइना ने बिहेव किया है मार्केट के अंदर में, नॉट ओनली ऑन द बिजनेस टर्म बट इन अदर एरियाज एज वेल, ये फोर्सफुली उनको मैसेज जा रहा है कि अब हमें ये रिविजिट करना पड़ेगा कि और कौन हमारे साथ पार्टनर हो सकते हैं, या ये जो सेक्टर्स हैं ये क्या हमारे नेशनल इंपॉर्टेंस के, तो क्यों हम इनको इंपोर्ट करके क्यों नहीं कुछ सेल्फ रिलायंट बने। सो यहाँ पर ये मैसेज समझना जरूरी है कि ये एक नेचुरल फिनोमिना हो गया है जहाँ पर हर कंट्री एक नया बायर और एक नया पार्टनर ढूंढ रही है, और उसमें डेफिनेटली आफ्टर चाइना इंडिया को बहुत सारे लीडिंग एडवांटेज है गिवन द करंट लीडरशिप एज वेल. Okay, Ian, I think you took the example of UK, and which also falls one of the, and you have some bit more insight about UK, how actually the stats wise the equation sits with the China. So let me take your some moment on this slide.
Yeah, so I believe the UK has 25% what's designated as CNI. I'm not going to go through the whole chart, Praveen, because of time. However, just some practical examples of where the UK is dependent on the Chinese supply chain would be things such as steel toe cap boots, magnets, television receivers, gear chains, and you know these are specific to the UK. Australia, I believe, because of the climate, there's certain things such as garlic and onions where they've got a potential supply shortage with. So I, I think for every country that there's you'd have to do a more in-depth analysis depending on your particular needs of the audience.
That's true, Ian. You are absolutely right. And I think that's where we are actually helpful. If anybody exploring any specific market and they need a bit of international expertise, we can actually, with our team expert, we can fill that gap, or at least maybe help them to understand where they need to pursue their, depending on their strength of the business. Thank you, Ian. We will move to your, we would like to invite actually Romit Patel, who is one of our UK importer here. And I'm very proud to say that he has started manufacturing as well now, especially on the event decoration item. Romit, I know when you started your business, even though you originate from India, but now your 75% of your purchase is from China. And knowing the fact that how you actually see now your business post COVID-19, we'd like to hear your thought, Romit, that why you found that while dealing with China and between India, what's your personal experience? Romit, you there? Romit, I think there is some line problem. I cannot. Are you on headphone, Romit? Okay, I think so, Romit sorry, Romit, I think either you have to rejoin or something, but your voice is absolutely not audible to us. Romit, we will do one thing. If you can join again and send us a message, we will take you on board again. But there is some line problem, so we have to move on. The further going ahead, I would say that when we looked at our participant, we were actually overwhelmed by the participation, that our participants represent the whole Indian economy. If you look at the sector wise, obviously there are certain sectors which are more prominent in the participation, especially textile and apparels, financial services, and we will see if we can give you some input today, which really help you to understand where the opportunity is lying in this current environment. I would like to invite my Rajiv colleague. Rajiv ji, I know you have done your in-depth analysis of current European trade with the India. Do you want to walk us through some numbers here, and then we get with more in detail?
Yeah, thank you, Praveen ji. I think today we, first of all, I must compliment everybody who has joined in to understand the EU trade and the business. As you can see from this slide, we are the 10th largest trading partner of EU. Although if you look at the percentages, India only contributes 2% of EU trade. So that means it's a very big signal that we have a lot of room for expansion. And there are almost 6.3 billion trade services which have increased over a period of, if you look at the numbers from 2015 to 18. And 2019, we are poised for, we did almost 80 billion euro trade with European Union countries, and it is growing. And if you look at the last one decade, which is almost 10 years, there's a growth of 72%. So, which is phenomenal. So, on the whole, if you look at the landscape is improving, the Indian companies are getting a lot of opportunity to expand their horizon in EU market. And as Ian mentioned, UK is also a big time, where we are getting into this UK market also. But having said that, I think we must be very careful about the procedures. Also, we should be very
So,
focused on the compliance part of it.
absolutely, Rajesh. I think
And how to communicate.
Sure, yes. We have understood the
Yes.
numbers, so which gives a good of understanding. Let's
Yeah.
see where I think you have got a bit more detail about the sector-wise. What is the breakup actually? If you can walk us through this one, because that will also help us understand the current landscape much better
Yeah.
from the import perspective.
Sure.
Ajit, can you see my slide?
Yes. Now, if you can, I think we go to the previous slide, the China trade. If you look at the trade with China, the most traded products are basically telecom, automatic data processing, machines, electrical machinery, household equipments, furniture, apparels, and footwear. I see a lot of apparel guys present today. So I think it will be a music to their ears that a lot of Chinese business can shift to us if we really focus. But the challenge for the apparel market is that there is a recent kind of uh, FTA with Vietnam. So that FTA is becoming a little challenge for us because there is a disability of around 9% for us. But definitely, Indian industry can tide over it. And if you look at the country-wise details, you can see from this chart, Netherlands, Germany, Italy, France, Spain, Poland, Belgium, they have all got huge numbers which are coming from China. So there is a potential, opportunity for us to get and grab all these numbers, so we can all
Absolutely.
focus based on
Yeah.
your industry and get into this. Yeah.
Yes, thank you, Rajiv ji. Let me just rephrase this in Hindi for few people who have joined, so they also understand the paradigm of EU market.
Yeah.
यूरोपियन यूनियन जो है वो एक 27 कंट्रीज का एक बड़ा यूनियन है और उसके अंदर में से अभी ब्रिटेन अलग हो रहा है। ये आप लोग को न्यूज में पता चला होगा, इसको ब्रेक्सिट भी कह रहे हैं हम लोग। वो एग्रीमेंट हो चुका है और नेक्स्ट ईयर जनवरी के अंदर में वो कंप्लीट सेपरेट हो जाएंगे। इसका मतलब ये है कि हमें जब यूके मार्केट देखना होगा तो वो यूयू से सेपरेट देखना होगा। और बिटवीन ईयू एंड यूके चूंकि इतने दिनों की पार्टनरशिप थी, वो अभी भी एक तरह से आपस में एक सिंगल यूनियन मार्केट में ही ट्रेड करेंगे। इसका लेकिन यूके को इसके ईयू से डिपेंडेंसी निकलने के बावजूद भी और भी नए मार्केट प्लेयर्स को एंट्री मिलेगी, क्योंकि उनको अपनी डिपेंडेंसी ईयू से रिड्यूस करनी है और जगह से और इंक्रीज करनी है। ये जो डायग्राम था जो राजीव जी ने रखा, वो चाइना के ऊपर फोकस था, जिसमें वो दिखा रहे थे कि चाइना के कौन कौन सी एरियाज में ज्यादा इंपोर्ट्स हो रहे हैं कंट्रीज के अंदर में, और कौन सी ऐसी कंट्रीज है यूरोपियन मार्केट में जो चाइना के ऊपर ज्यादा फोकस्ड है। तो वहां पर हमें देखना होगा कि कौन से सेक्टर है जिनके अंदर में हम अपनी एंट्री बना सकते हैं। सो दिस इज वेयर व्हेन वी सेड दैट ये जो वेबिनार है इसका जो फोकस है अपॉर्चुनिटी बताने का, वो यूरोपियन मार्केट के अंदर में ये स्टैट्स दिखा करके हम आपको बताना चाहते थे कि कहाँ पर अपॉर्चुनिटीज इंडियन प्लेयर्स के लिए बन सकती है. The next slide which is coming is exactly we are going to narrow down our list where you can take away some points where what are those segments of the products which need to be focused on priority. Rajiv ji, do you want to give us a bit more insight about your these selected products here?
Yes, as you can see from the list, we have mineral products also. So mineral products which are used in pharmaceutical industry, we have a lot of mining being done all over India. So that has grown by 37.2% in the year 2019. If you look at other parts, heavy machines and chemical products have increased by 13.2%. But of course, wires and cables and list is long. But I would touch upon textile. Textile has gone down by 2%. So I think here take it up strongly with Government of India also, and as a textile industry, of course we can try and grab the opportunity of the Chinese business or other businesses which can move to us. And of course, textile and apparel has a very huge potential. So we can look at that. Furniture is another area, and of course fruits and vegetable and dairy part of it is also having huge potential. But my caution is that we should all be very clear about the norms. For example, in textile, we should be very clear about the compliance and what all is allowed in terms of the chemical content or toxins, so that your shipment should not get rejected. So we all should focus on the individual products.
That's correct, Rajiv. I think that's where we will touch upon, like, when we talk about the experiences, probably we will ask, let's get some live experiences as well, because we have few people joining from the industry directly. I would like to welcome Tushar Patel. Tushar ji, are you on the line?
Yeah, I'm here.
Hi, Tushar. I would like to welcome you on behalf of the Business Learning and Associate Partners here for this webinar
Thank you,
opportunity.
dear.
And I really appreciate your time today. You represent Kejriwal Group here.
प्रोडक्शन मेरा चालू होने वाला है मंडे से, तो तभी मैं कर पाऊंगा. मंडे या ट्यूसडे से चालू होगा उसका प्रोडक्शन.
Tushar ji, are you on the other line?
Yeah, I'm here, but I cannot able to hear you the last what you have told me anyway.
Sorry, Tushar ji, I think in a one-liner, I've given your introduction to everybody, but if you like to just give us one-liner what actually the Kejriwal Group is, so we will all know that which group you are representing here and what the Kejriwal exports outside India.
So we are basically a manufacturer for the POY, FDY, polyester texturized yarn, polyester yarn dyed, nylon DTY and all that. And we are exporting to the mainly many countries in South American region and some ports in the EU regions like Germany, Poland, Portugal, Spain, and all that area.
So, Tushar, what do you see where the market patterns changing? Your current experience?
I'm sorry?
Do you see any change in the market trend, Tusharji, as the recent last 2-3 months when this pandemic
started? Well, it is absolutely a change. Due to the current situation, everyone knows that the buyers are not sure that what will be going to the next situation. So the consumer confidence has taken a beating through the behavior and all that. But I don't think so this will be sustained. It will be a more intensify now.
When you say the consumer behavior intensified, I think you are kind of alluding to the fact that is this the opportunity where the Indian firms can actually show their competency and take the advantage of that, or you still think that the market will still be holding tight to the China?
No. We definitely have some really good time to show our ability.
Correct. Is there anything else you want to share from your own experience? Like if anybody who is especially trying to now enter into the market, what should they be looking at market, which perspective, like just one?
So Yeah, it's just basically when you want to start an export, you should be very much sure that what kind of a solutions you can offer to the customers. And then you should be stick to the particular product what you are manufacturing, unless and until you are a trader.
Absolutely. So I think that knowledge of that, what exactly demand is there in the market, and that has to go in hand in hand with our strength, what we can produce. Perfect.
That's absolutely right.
Correct. Thank you, Tusharji. We will take up any other question if any other participant ask any direct question to you. So we will let you
No
know.
issue,
Thank
no issue,
you.
no issue.
Okay, Raj, I will move my next slide where we are trying to show you some quadrants, and anybody who is doing the business are familiar with these quadrants. But let me ask Ian to give a very good thought on why, Ian, we need to work on all those quadrants, or you think we just need to focus on sales? What's your personal thought on this, Ian?
Thanks, Praveen. So many companies, for whatever reason, treat sales in isolation. It's almost a division on its own within the business. However, sales is an integral part, and its interdependency on the other parts of the business are really important. So if I can just give a simple explanation there. If sales go out and win an order for $1 million, the order is worthless if operations don't have the capacity to deliver it. If sales go out and win an order for $1 million and operations can deliver it, the order is still worthless if finance doesn't have the resources to purchase the raw materials, for example. So again, lastly, if sales goes out and wins a $1 million order, operations can deliver it, finance has got the money, but the people aren't skilled, or there's issues with a high turnover of staff. Again, the order becomes worthless. So there's a real interdependency there. And whilst working on sales is important, any business will only grow at the rate of its slowest growing quadrant. So you have to grow all the 4 quadrants of your business.
You are absolutely right, Ian, and I think I need to tell this message to all the participants who can also understand more in Hindi. ये जो 4 खांचे हैं हमारे बिजनेस के, इसको आप किसी भी नाम से बोल सकते हैं, बट मेन मैसेज यहाँ पर ये है कि अगर ये चारों जब तक मिलकर के एज ए टीम काम नहीं करेंगे, तब तक हम अपने बिजनेस को आगे ले जा ही नहीं सकते। अगर आपके इस चारों खांचों के अंदर में एक खांचा बहुत अच्छा है, जहाँ पे सेल्स तो बहुत अच्छी कर रही है, पर बाकी चीजें नहीं है, तो भी आपकी रेट ऑफ ग्रोथ जो है वो इतनी ज्यादा अच्छी नहीं रहेगी। रेट ऑफ ग्रोथ अगर आपको बिजनेस की बढ़ानी है, तो एक ही तरीका है कि ये चारों खांचों के ऊपर आपको समान रूप से आपको अपना इन्वेस्टमेंट करना पड़ेगा। और यहाँ पे ही हमारी टीम आती है जो आपको बताती है कि आपके कौन से क्वाड्रेंट हैं या कौन से खांचे हैं जो लैग कर रहे हैं, और उसको हम कैसे इंप्रूव कर सकते हैं। और इन जनरल यहाँ तो हम एक्सपोर्ट की बात कर रहे हैं, बट ये जो कंसेप्ट है ये सब जगह अप्लाई होता है, इवन आपके अभी करंट इन्वायरमेंट में भी जो आप बिजनेस कर रहे हैं। With this, Ian, I know you would like to take a very good little bit thought about how do you look at the sales when you look at the sales process in a firm. I know you have got a very good assessment model, and I would like to spend some few minutes here. And as part of this slide, I will also ask you some questions which have been asked by the participants.
Okay, thanks, Praveen. So typically, the level of what we would describe as sales maturity is going to vary in every business, and I'm sure that the audience are not all going to be at step 2, for example, or step 3. The audience will be at various parts along the 5 steps there. So typically, we find that startups and entrepreneurial type organizations don't have what we would describe as a mature or sales division, and what they've got is irregular use of things like your customer relationship management tools. It's much more reactive rather than proactive. They don't quite have the systems in place to collect data, and certainly they don't have the resources or maybe the expertise to analyze and use that data in a positive way. And as you move up through defined and reportable, it's just a matter of a series of progressive steps that they need to take. And as they move up through the process, their sales division becomes much more of a machine, and it's really much more predictable in terms of the results that they're going to get at the end of it.
That's true, Ian, and I think this is really very important for everybody to understand how much they really understand their sales team is working, how they can measure them. So at the moment, the only measurement they do for sales, how much they've got the business, have they? That is the only focus. But that focus is actually not achievable unless you really find that framework which can take you or make sure that the success is repeated every time. सो जो लोग अपने बिजनेस के अंदर में सेल्स के अंदर में खुद ही रोल कर रहे हैं सेल्स का, क्या उनको भी ये समझ में आना चाहिए कि मैं जब अपनी टीम बना रहा हूँ सेल्स की, वो कितनी लंबे समय तक मेरे बिजनेस को सेल्स दे सकती है। और इस चीज को समझने के लिए हम लोगों ने एक फ्रेमवर्क बनाया है, जो हम आपके क्वेश्चंस के बेस पे हम आपको बता सकते हैं कि आपकी बिजनेस उस फ्रेमवर्क में कहाँ पर फिट हो रही है। और ऑब्वियसली अगर आप टॉप एंड पर है तब तो कोई प्रॉब्लम ही नहीं है, लेकिन अगर आपको लगता है आप टॉप एंड पे, तो मोस्ट चांसेस ये है कि आप एक्चुअली टॉप एंड पे नहीं है। तो वो चीज की अंडरस्टैंडिंग लेने के लिए आप कभी भी असेसमेंट के लिए हमारे पास आ सकते हैं और हम आपको बता सकते हैं कि ये सेल्स का प्रोसेस आपका कहाँ पर है। लेट मी टेक सम क्वेश्चंस Ian here. We have got one question in the form is, how do you find reliable buyers overseas? And the relevant question here, how to find markets and approach potential buyer. So both are more focused on the reaching out to the customer. Can you give your thoughts about these questions?
So that's a great question, Praveen. I think for many companies who want to reach out to potential customers, potential agents, distributors, whatever model you use, I think the first step should be, before you even reach out, you've got to define who it is you're actually looking for. And what we mean by that is, rather than taking what we would describe as a shotgun approach, you need to actually laser that down, and you need to decide, well, okay, so what industry, what size of organization in terms of the number of people, what size of organization in terms of the revenue, what types of customers will they already be selling to that they could potentially introduce their products to. And other questions such as, will our product be part of a wider portfolio where it might not get much attention, or will our product or service be a critical part of their strategy to move their own business forward? So until you can answer those questions, you're really just doing a needle in the haystack before you even try and reach out.
That's true. There's one more question somebody has asked. I really like to answer this question from your mouth. Is that how to generate trust on the new clients to choose us as our supplier?
So trust is hugely important, and in every business, especially the larger businesses in the UK, the big problem that they've got is risk, and they're constantly looking to manage risk. And trust is something that you're going to have to build up over time. And what I would suggest is, a lot of companies, when they're selling, they're trying to eat what we call, eat the elephant in one sitting. And what you need to do is you need to actually just break things down and just start off with small steps. Don't try and eat the pie in one whole step. So instead of chasing an order for $100,000, start off with an order for $5,000 to actually build up that trust, and it de-risks it from the importer's perspective. So it's something that isn't going to happen overnight, but there's certainly things that you can do in terms of the way that you present yourself and the way that you sell to them that is going to make it much easier for them.
Absolutely, and I would like to give this message to everyone. अगर आप अपने नए मार्केट में इंटर कर रहे हैं जहाँ पे आपको पता नहीं कि आपको क्लाइंट को कैसे प्रेजेंट करना है, सो वो प्रेजेंटेशन कैसे करना है क्लाइंट को, दैट डिपेंड्स ऑन इट। वो कई सारे फैक्टर के ऊपर डिपेंड करता है। तो आपको वो कैसे प्रेजेंट करना है, ये अगर हेल्प चाहिए तो वहां पर भी हमारी टीम आपको हेल्प करती है कि नए बुलायर के सामने में आपको कैसे प्रेजेंट करना है, क्योंकि वहाँ की अंडरस्टैंडिंग, वहाँ का कल्चर कैसा है, सब चीजों की जानकारी होना बहुत जरूरी है। With this, Ian, let's move to your next one, and I think we should not spend much time on this because you have already touched upon the sales framework.
Sure.
This is something which, if you just want to give in one liner, that exactly what is our blueprint for the sales success.
Sure. So nearly everybody in the audience, I'm sure they'll have a system that they're using for the financial side of their business. Equally, I'm sure they've got a system for the operation side of the business, and many companies now have got really professional HR departments with systems in place. The majority of companies that we see do not have what we would describe as an end-to-end system for sales. So why is it that sales doesn't have a system? And when we say end-to-end, that means from the initial targeting of potential clients all the way through to closing them for business, to bringing them on board as a customer, and then to manage them in what we would call strategic account form, so that you actually keep that customer over the next 3, 4, 5-year period. So all we would suggest is that if you don't have an end-to-end system, there's certainly that's something you should look at.
Very true, Ian. I actually deliberately asked you that don't spend much time. The reason why I said this thing, because लोगों को लगता है कि सेल्स के लिए हमें कोई सिस्टम की जरूरत ही नहीं है. सेल्स के लिए बस हमें जाना है, नेटवर्किंग करना है और सेल्स हो जाएगी. उसको रिकॉर्ड करना, आपके नेटवर्किंग को रिकॉर्ड करना और उसका एक मेंटेन करना अकाउंट्स अपने आप में बहुत ज्यादा जरूरी है. और उसके बेनिफिट्स क्या हो सकते हैं आपको, वो तब पता चलता है जब आपकी सेल्स टीम आपको छोड़ के चली जाती है. एंड ऑल ऑफ सडन आपको पता चलता है, अरे अब तो मेरी टीम के अंदर में कोई है ही नहीं बिजनेस देखने के लिए. This is where we think that we have got a system where you can track your sales, and that tracking itself proves where you are going to succeed in your customer outreach or not. At this point, I will like to invite our Mr. Arup Datta ji. Arup Datta ji is a TEDx speaker, and I know he is a serial entrepreneur. I have already know his latest venture. Arup ji, are you on the line?
Yeah, hi.
Hi, Arup ji. I know your Khaddar brand is a very unique concept in the market. Do you want to give us a one-liner like what exactly Khaddar does and which industry you cater as part of Khaddar brand?
Well, we simply join communities together. We curate their products. We tell them what the market is going to be like. And we then buy the products from them, put them under the brand. And when we sell them, the customer gets to know where it came from, who made it, and therefore they pay a price for the story, the value, the ethics, and the product. That's all that we do.
Brilliant. And as you said, Arup ji, the way you are connecting the people from the ground level to the global market, that itself is a very big learning for lots of participants here. Arup ji, from your experience, what you would like to share for those who are getting into the export business? And so far you have seen that the way we have presented our content, where do you see that the real experience can, can you share some more insight on that, on two areas?
Well, Praveen, that when we were talking last night about exports and things like that, I have a different take on that. I believe you should export to a nation where you make margins, and not export when you make pennies. That's one. Number two, if you've got a product which is good enough, I suggest that you set up a company in the country you want to export to your own company, and then get into local distribution and simply move product with whatever methods, which probably Ian said, and I think Ian made a very good point there in terms of gains and pains. All right? It's a little drastic, it's a little radical, but I think it's a great idea to do, and we've done it, and we've achieved proof of precedence that this works.
You are absolutely right. I think you have already given the Sanjeevani booty in terms of who want to start the export in a very aggressive way. I think this the mantra you have given is really very important, because lots of people think that, oh, I can't set up my business there. How would I know, and all that stuff. With the latest technology evolution, the whole world has become a small village. Now today, if you see the whole webinar, everybody joining, and I'm sitting thousands of miles away, and we can see that we all can connect easily. And especially the COVID-19 has taught us that even the contactless world will be more going to be a bit more longer time than we thought of earlier. So thank you, Arup, for sharing your experience. I'm sure there is a good insight you have given, which everybody will ponder over and come back to us again. Thank you, Arup.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Praveen.
Friends, I've got this slide again, Business Growth Enablers Quadrant. I keep repeating this time because I feel these are the 4 areas which we need to focus as a business mindset. I will touch upon now more on the financial side, because we think that in India, especially with the Narendra Modi's initiative of Atmanirbhar, and be it Make in India or be it Vocal for Local, they all go in that context where he wants to really boost that entrepreneurship at a grass level. And I would like to invite our speaker, Subham, to share with some insight about what are those schemes which are very relevant in this point of time. Shubham, over to you. Can you walk us through with the Nirvik scheme?
Sure. Thank you, Praveen. Thank you, Praveen, for giving me this opportunity to speak in front of such a diverse audience. With global supply chains being disrupted because of COVID-19 crisis and the country embroiled in a border standoff with China, PM Narendra Modi has given a call for Atmanirbhar Bharat. So the two schemes which I am going to discuss today will not only boost up the exports in near future, but also give extended benefits to the MSME sector. And according to me, this is the best time to enter into the market, as after implementation of this scheme, you can reap the benefits. So let me take you through the first scheme. So the first scheme I'm taking is Nirvik scheme. That is known by the name Niryat Rin Vikas Yojana. ECGC, that is Export Credit Guarantee Corporation of India, which is a fully government-owned company and was established in 1957 to promote exports by providing credit insurance services. This ECGC has introduced a scheme to ease the lending process and enhance loan availability for exporters. Now, how it will benefit the exporters? So first and foremost is it will enhance the affordability of credit for exporters. तो exporters के लिए जो credit होता है वो एक affordable हो जाएगा. MSMEs को approximately 7.60% rate of interest के हिसाब से loan मिलना चालू होगा. The decision will help. Sorry, yes.
Yeah, no, you are right. This is making them very much attractive. Right. Actually, the rate of interest which is coming down.
Yeah. Right. And also this decision will help make Indian exports competitive, and ECGC का जो procedure होता है that will also become export friendly. Okay, then the liquidity issue which currently happens due to quick settlement of claims, that will be solved out, and it will ensure that timely and adequate working capital to the export sector will be available. The one thing to highlight in this scheme is that insurance cover guaranteed will cover up to 90% of the principal as well as interest component. So the ECGC currently provides credit guarantee of up to 60% loss only, but now going forward we'll get additional 30%, and it will also cover the interest component, which is a very big part for that.
Very true. Very true. Which these are quite aggressive policy initiatives by government of India.
Yeah, right.
Thank you.
Then second scheme which I want to discuss about is RODTEP. I think we can cover in this slide only.
Sure.
Yeah. So this RODTEP scheme. Yeah, Praveen.
No, I moved the slide now, so everybody can see.
Okay. Right. So this scheme is known as remission of duties or taxes on export products. So currently there is a MEIS scheme which is known by the name Merchandise Export Incentive Scheme. So this scheme will completely replace this MEIS scheme, and this scheme is also WTO compliant scheme. So presently this MEIS scheme is not WTO compliant. So government is now introducing a newer scheme in which the benefit will be, at present, the GST taxes and import duties for inputs required to manufacture exported products are either exempted or refunded, right? But however, certain duties and taxes which are outside the GST levy are not refunded for export, such as VAT on fuel used in transportation, mandi taxes, then there is duty on electricity used during manufacturing, etc. So these would be covered for reimbursement under this scheme. The rebate which would be claimed by exporters will be on FOB value of exports, and the central government is projecting approximately 50,000 CR as revenue foregone in this scheme. The Ministry of Finance is also making a ITC ledger in this case. So they are automizing everything. They are focusing on digital economy, and the ITC ledger which is available in GST, like there are ITC, you can see the credit, how much is the credit in GST ledgers. So that will be formed in this scheme, which will also act as an authentic reference for foreign entities like UN and WTO, etc. So I think this is a very nice scheme to boost the exports.
Correct. And I think you touched upon that point of the digitalization. And I personally want to highlight this point, that the digital economy is actually going to increase the credibility of India across the world, because that transparency we bring in the transaction creates an immense branding in the mind of the customer.
Correct.
There is one thing, I know, Shubham, you have also pulled together some of the common challenges which exporters face. And given the forum, we have few exporters as well. and I'm sure they will echo your statement here. So do you want to just quickly go through those issues and tell us what exactly they can do to avoid it?
Yeah, sure. So many a times it happens that exporter makes mistake of categorizing in GST, specifically in GST I'm talking about. Many a times it happens that in exporter categorize zero rated supply as nil rated supply and vice versa. So they need to specifically understand that whatever they are exporting, whether they are filing compliance on time and effectively and also correctly. So that is important. As far as this issue is concerned, I remember one incident where one of my relative who is into business of clothing have exported some product to US, and he paid GST on export. So there are two options: either you pay GST or you do not pay GST. So there are two options: you can take refund of GST paid on export. But unintentionally, what he did is in GSTR1 he did wrong entry of shipping bill number while uploading invoices. So his export refund got stuck, and approximately it takes 5 to 6 months to get back that refund. So whenever you're filing your compliances, you need to take care of many things, such as the taxpayer who is paying the tax should know that GSTR 3B's tax should match with GSTR 1's tax. So both should match. Otherwise, there will be a mismatch between both the returns.
Correct, Shubham. I think these things are becoming a bit more technical here, but I think this gives a bit of a flavor to people to understand that the BL team is not only talking at the higher level, we can also help you on the operational level at the very granular level. Thanks, Shubham. I know we have another experienced profile here. Seemaji, namaskar. I hope you are on the line. We would like to hear your experience as a custom agent, and especially you have been the ex-banker as well. Do you want to share your own experience as a custom agent where you find that the common mistakes made by the exporters or what they are not aware of? Seemaji, are you online? Puneet, can you unmute Seemaji?
Yeah, audible?
Yes, you are audible.
Yeah, thank you, Pravinji. In today's scenario, many manufacturers want to do export.
True, very true.
But first of all, they should know their product properly by description wise. Because many generally exporters know their product only by name, but the customs need it identified by HSN code, harmonized system, right?
True.
And after HSN code, the major problem is the allied X. Though compared to import, there is a little bit less allied X for export, but there is many allied X like valuation rules. Shubham ji said na ki drawback can't receive only because of shipment. Yes, shipment. So valuation rules helps to precise value product. Right? Then drawback rule. Drawback if exporter exporting their goods which are manufactured from imported raw material, then exporter is eligible for drawback, import duty refund. So new exporters don't know that.
I completely, yes, I think you are right that the understanding of the product is important. Sivaji, do you want to tell a little bit about that understanding of the different legalities which are required? Just in a 1 or 2 line, we are actually getting short of time. If you can give that insight on the legal side, that will be really much appreciated.
Yeah, these allied X are only legal side.
I see.
Some wood packaging, ISPM, textile environment protect, hazards. These are allied X which have to complete there. And these certificates issued by these partner government agencies, which certificate we have to file when we shipping bill file, right? So shipping bill will parallelly directly passes to this partner government agencies.
Correct. Correct.
So my suggestion is for new exporter, please go through with this allied acts, not only market value. So they should go with this allied acts.
Perfect, perfect. Thank you, Seemaji. I think this was really valuable insight. तो जो लोग ये बात को समझ गए हैं कि भाई हमको प्रोडक्ट को तो जानना ही है, उसके अलावा उससे रिलेटेड जो लॉज हैं उस कंट्री में, उसकी जानकारी होना भी बहुत ज्यादा जरूरी है. थैंक यू सीमा जी. this was a really pleasure talking to you, and having your experience here. Friends, we are
Thanks.
moving to the next section here. Now we are going to touch upon a bit on the pupil side, the team side, and I will ask my colleague Rajiv ji to just quickly give a bit of a motivational thought on the how to build a team and what is his thought on this turning the Indian company in the global MNCs. Rajiv ji.
Yeah. I think we have already proved to the world that we have a lot of scope as a team to expand. The way we have exported PPE kits and the way we have within 1 month or within 1.5 months brought in a lot of export of sanitizers, masks to deal with this COVID environment, I think talks about the inherent strength we have. But having said that, I think we need to go more deep into, so like Ian mentioned, 5 Is, I will give you 3 Ps. So the first P is the purpose. So we must be very clear what is our purpose to go into a particular market and how we are going to do that. Then passion. Passion is very important because unless you are passionate about it, that you have to do it and you have to become successful, other things will fall in place if you have right kind of passion. And the path. So the third P is the path. So path, of course, has to be very clear. And if all these 3 Ps are in line, we can always get into any market, any export horizon. And as you know, that Prime Minister Modi has already talked about Make in India and Atmanirbhar Bharat. So we need to be self-reliant. We need to be very clear about our goals, how we are going to take ourselves forward and achieve success. And let me tell you, India is setting second to none in terms of manufacturing good products for the global market. Trust. Somebody asked the question on trust. So people are getting more and more trust on Indian manufacturers now, and we have advantages like low cost of labor. Of course, we have other factors which are in favor of us. So
Yeah,
we can move
Rajiv ji,
forward.
maybe if you
Yes.
can also touch upon this another example of yours where you're talking about that we need to move from the traditional mindset, blue ocean companies
Yes.
mindset.
Yes. So traditionally, we all think about, if you look at the left side of the slide, we all companies, they look at price or value and feature. But the blue ocean companies are always looking at the expansion of the market. They are looking at the whole sea as their business game. So for this, you have to actually value innovate. So you have to eliminate your extra cost. You have to reduce the extra burden which you carry and create and raise your bar so that you can offer a more value product or more valuable feature to the market. I come from an electronic background. I worked for Panasonic for almost 22 years. I can tell you the electronic products are now treated as vegetables because the before you start thinking, the model has to change. So we are always on the toes. So basically, it's not only the price, it is the value innovation which matters. And one has to continuously work on value innovation. So that is what I wanted to give a punchline, rocket your way to success. And that is where business learning comes in. So we can always offer good product to your team and do help in team building so that you can achieve and get into the market with all your tools in place.
Thank you, Rajiv ji. Thank you. I think now we will have our another experience here. Linda, she is representing as a buying agent for the EU market. Rajiv
Yeah.
ji, do you want to share
Yeah.
your stage with Linda, please?
Yes. First of all, thank you, Linda, for joining. Linda she comes from Sweden and she is part of the Federation of Buying Agent Federation Governing Council in India. So she is in India for almost 18 years now, and she currently operates from Gurgaon as well as Delhi. And there is another office she has in Dubai. So, Linda, my question to you is that how do you see Indian companies and Indian professionals going abroad and becoming a MNC in their own right? And what is your experience about garment industry which you represent?
Sure. Can you hear me? Yes, hopefully you can. Okay, thanks a lot, Sajid. So I'm going to go straight to the point, and on the base of my experience in India for almost 2 decades now, and what I'm hearing from the customers in Europe versus what I'm struggling with on a day-to-day basis in India. So first of all, mindset. To have the right mindset to do whatever it takes to service global customers is the absolutely most important aspect. India is unfortunately from time to time struggling with a bad reputation when it comes to trust. And the only way to prove the opposite is to really walk the talk and always have your integrity in place and do what is right rather than convenient no matter what. So this is the first and foremost aspect. The second aspect as a manufacturer today is to have your compliance in place. And I do understand and respect that when you're a small company and you would like to go out there, you may not necessarily have your compliance in place, but make sure that you start with the bare basics, which is of course first and foremost to follow Indian laws and regulations, what they say in terms of safety and health, in terms of salaries, in terms of OT payment, in terms of how you deal with your staff. This is where you can start. Once you tick all the boxes for what is required in India by the government, then the way I see it is that you're ready to actually go out and get an audit made by a third-party inspection. Could be SGS or ITS. And the very third aspect would be to make sure that you comply with the chemicals that we also touched base on with before. So in the apparel sector today, almost everything that goes to EU gets tested by default. And the best way for you to control this as a manufacturer is to make sure that you choose your vertical supply chain carefully. If you work with the right mills, with the right trim suppliers, etc., you already are almost 90% safe of that you will not have any banned chemicals in the components. And with that, you're far more likely to succeed quicker. So the way I see it, if you manage to tick these 3 boxes, then I think you have a very, very good starting ground for actually go out and conquering the European market.
Thank you, Linda. Thank you, Linda. I think let me just quickly summarize what Linda has said, and she has really given a very good insight how actually we can win the trust of the customer. हम अगर अपना प्रोडक्ट बना रहे हैं, उस प्रोडक्ट बनाने के अंदर में भी अगर हमारे पास और भी सप्लायर्स लगे हुए हैं, हमें उनको भी जानना होगा उतने अच्छे से जितना हमें अपने कस्टमर को जानना है, क्योंकि जो बाहर के कस्टमर हैं वो सिर्फ आपके ही बारे में नहीं पूछते, वो आपके बाकी जो प्रोडक्ट बनाने की साइकिल में जितने लोग एंगेज हैं उनके भी बारे में उतनी जानकारी रखना चाहते हैं, बिकॉज यहाँ पर सिर्फ प्रोडक्ट की जो क्वालिटी है वो एक जगह से नहीं आ रही, वो कई जगह से मल्टीपल स्टेजेस से आ रही है. तो ये मैसेज देना चाहता हूँ मैं उन लोगों को जो मैन्युफैक्चरिंग लाइन में है, उनको इंश्योर करना होगा कि उनके जो प्रोसेसेस हैं वो इतने क्लियर और इतने कंप्लायंस हो कि जब आप अपने क्लाइंट को फेस करें तो आप उसको बहुत ही कैटेगोरिकली और बहुत ही ऑनेस्टली आंसर दे सकें. एंड दिस इज वेयर जो आपका ट्रस्ट फैक्टर और जो ब्रांड है वो बनेगा, और तभी आपकी एक यूरोपियन मार्केट या कोई भी इंटरनेशनल मार्केट के अंदर में आप उसको ऑनेस्टली बेच पाएंगे. थैंक यू लिंदा एंड थैंक यू राजीव जी. With this we'll just say here one punchline here just to boost everybody's morale. As you all have given your time, we want that you need to don't need to limit your challenges, but you need to challenge your limits, as Jerry Dunn has put these words, which are really very close to us as well. Lastly, before we go, I will ask Puneet that if you can put an offer which we are putting forward as part of our services offering. BL is a kind of a portfolio of services which is not only in the leadership or sales or overseas internal financial. We have also gamified our learning and solutions. So if you want to experience our portfolio of services, we do recommend that you set up our first assessment session with us. Especially this session has been targeted for the export house. So if you have any query, you will have more chance to get your answers in a more detailed manner. I know with the time crunch, we have not been able to answer all the questions which have come through the chat, but I will just ask Puneet. Puneet, do you think is there anything we can take up very quickly, and maybe if we can ask any of the speakers we have today, and they can try to answer any of those questions.
Well, I've been hearing a couple of questions like, what are the documents or the, are required to get it into the, EU,
So I think,
or,
yeah, these are the things which gets a bit more technical, and we need to go and look at what
yeah.
exactly the product you are referring. There cannot be one generic answer, but if there is anything which is a very generic one which we can answer, you can let us know. We would appreciate if you can drop your contact details. So any question which has not been answered, even in your registration form, we will come back to you those questions, answers over the email. So rest assured that whatever you have said to us, that will definitely be answered today. With this, I would like to thank all our event supporters. I know this webinar has been exclusively has been put together with the support of such a big teams here, and I would like to call out some of the names. And I hope if those people are on the line, they are free to say some few words here. So let me first of all say a thank you to Jagdishji Sharda here, who represents Wainfield. Jagdishji, if you are online, you are free to say a few words for this webinar event. I'm not sure if Jagdishji is online.
No, he is here.
Okay.
Yes, he's here.
Problem. Okay. Do we have Sri Sureshji Lakhotia, who is founder of BeachCon India? So Sureshji, अगर आप line पे हैं, तो we like.
Ram.
Yes,
Good evening.
Jai Shri Krishna ji.
How are you?
All
very
good, sir.
It was very good. It was a very good webinar. And before 1 week, we had in MIG, we did this webinar for Chinese product, how to replace.
Right.
And you understand, I think you have the news that JSW, Mr. Sajjan Jindal already announced that within 24 months, he is going to $400 million business diverted from China to any other country. So we are also part of, we do a lot of business with steel plant. So
Correct.
we are happy that we will be able to do a lot. Then we'll come back to you soon. Keep it up. Thank you.
And Suresh ji, as आपने जैसे बताया कि इतनी सारी अपॉर्चुनिटी आ रही है, the question here is that क्या हमारे पास में वो टीम है उस तरह से डिलीवर करने की अपॉर्चुनिटीज आकर के फिर चली ना जाए? I think that is where we have to focus.
We are just we want to have a target. People are waiting the what is the item we can do. So we want the list. I got a list from your screen today. So if you can share the list, we are the people. There are people available. We are ready to do it.
Perfect.
It will take time. You cannot do in daytime. See, I'm telling you example of mine. We used to buy a lot of floor spar CF2 from the China only. But recently we developed before 6 months. Luckily, South Africa, Thailand. Of course, this will be a quality issue. There will be some issue initially, but yes, in due course it will be done. It's possible. Everything possible.
Possible, absolutely. That right mindset is there, then everything is possible. And we look forward to join a BizCon platform at some point soon. Thank you very much.
So nice. We may come to the UK also to do the BizCon. Okay.
Fantastic, Sureshji. These words really inspire my team and my morale. Can I now invite Sri Nareshji Laddad and Sri Ashish Dalia ji on behalf of Maheshwari Industry Group. If either of you are on the line, then please do share a few words here. I'm not sure if they are on the line. I would like to also thank Maheshwari Starters Foundation Surat team, especially calling out brother Kishore Rathi, Sri Radhe Shyamji Rathi, Manish Jaju, and Sri Deepak Ji Mundra. A very great thanks to all of you on behalf of Business Learning team. I will also like to thank M Circle President Sri Ashish Ji Jhawar. Ashish Ji, if आप line पे हैं, तो please do share a few words about this webinar.
No, I don't think he's available.
Right. Okay. Then I will also like to thank Mahesh Foundation Secretary Sri Sanjay Lauti and esteemed member Sri Umesh Ji Rathi. Thank you very lot, sir, for your support and making sure that the audience get this opportunity to hear us. Smart Circle and Benefit Promoter Sri Jagdishji Sharda, if you are still on the line, please do come and say a few words. Okay. And then last,
is here.
Okay. Jagdishji, can you hear us? Okay. And I would like to now call upon a special thanks for the daughter-in-law Sri Shyamji Jaju श्रीमती कनुप्रिया जाजू जी, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद आपका। पता नहीं आप लाइन पर हैं कि नहीं है, but I'm sure the message will reach to you once we share the recording with all the participants who are enrolled today. A great thanks to all of you on behalf of Business Learning and its associated members. And I can see that we have slightly overturned on the time, but it's my always the effort that whatever time I've taken to you, I really appreciate your time today. Thank you very much.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you.